Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today with us in the hot seat, we have Sonal. Now, Sonal says, how do couples become compatible? As in, me and my husband have always had issues between us. What ways can we fight less and be more mature to handle the relationship? And I love this because very often we get into relationships and we don't understand why we're in a relationship. Especially if you're in an arranged marriage, have we created the rules of engagement with each other? And I think the best way to think about a relationship, and it's Valentine's week, so I thought this would be a great topic to have because the word relationship has the word ship in it. And I've always loved this analogy between a ship and a relationship because you have to think of your relationship as the boat that is taking you along this journey of life. Now, if there are two captains on this boat and both captains want to go in different directions, where is this ship going to land up? It is going to land up wrecked somewhere or lost somewhere. So the first way of thinking about a relationship is to make sure that both you and your partner are aware of the purpose of this relationship, of the goal of this relationship, of the direction of this relationship. Now, if you're married, what is the goal of this relationship? Is it to make sure that both of you all grow together in life? Do you all share your goals with each other? Is it about having children and nurturing them? You see, if you don't have a very clear goal that you all both agree on and communicate, then relationships get into this strange place where you don't know what you all are fighting for. And the fights just keep increasing and increasing and increasing. You know, a big issue with the current way that people are dating is that they don't have a direction for that dating to go in. One might have a completely different direction, somebody else might have a completely different direction. Now, you both have to be co-helms. You'll have to be captains of this ship together and decide on where you'll are going. So the first thing that I would suggest you'll do is actually sit down and have this conversation. Now, I don't suggest that you tell your husband, you know what, Ashdin said that we have to sit down and write our goals. So now here is a pad and paper, let's start writing our goals. Right? That is not the way to do it. Instead, what I want you to do is have a conversation saying that, when was the last time you thought about where life is heading? I want to understand what your goals are. I want you to understand what my goals are. And sometimes we might not have our own goals set. So what is it that we're going to communicate to our partner? How are they going to mind read what our goals are? So all of this you start seeing becomes this vicious trap. We don't know where you're headed. We don't know where they want to be headed. And as a result, this relationship hits the rocks. What I want you to do instead is to start the process of communication. Start the process of sharing your goals, sharing your directions, sharing your purposes in life. And after that, to get rid of the fighting, learn to communicate your point across. You see, fights only take place when you feel like you're talking to a wall. That means the other person's not receptive. That is when you start getting angry and raising your voice. You start getting angry and raising your voice when you feel threatened, maybe, right? So as a result, you need to realize that both these are nothing but communication deficiencies. One is the other person not listening, or the other is that the other person's feeling not respected in this relationship, and which is why the fights begin. Which is why anger flares up. And trust me, all relationships have arguments, need work, have fights, but it depends on how you fight, right? There are people who fight dirty, right? They bring up things from the past 7 years ago and throw it in your face. There are people who fight dirty in the fact that they take the vulnerabilities of their partner and rub it in their face. A great idea, especially in all relationships, is to have a pact, a promise to each other that you will never use each other's vulnerabilities against them. That means if something was shared in private with you, where they opened up and were vulnerable, you will never use that against them. Okay? So these are tools and techniques that you can use to improve your communication and remove these fights from your life. Because once you get this, the beauty of the relationship is then you have your little crew, all your babies on board. You have a goal, a purpose that this ship is heading into. And I think that is the beautiful thing. The final thing on an analogy between ships and relationships is that you won't always have a calm sea, right? There are times when the sea might be stormy and choppy and 100-foot waves. How strong is your relationship? And how well communicated are y'all is how this relationship will survive these storms. So it's not always going to be smooth sailing. There are going to be rocky waters, but you got to understand this and work together to achieve this beautiful life together. All right. So that is the way that I would see relationships and fighting. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. May your life be filled with lots and lots of love. Now, this is the hot seat episode. So if you have a question for me, there's a link below. Click on it. Send me a nice, juicy question that I can cover on the next episode of the hot seat. I'm Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And remember, awesome lives start with awesome habits.